take. Kind of not. Or what is the...
Do you ever
All right. Here, we've started it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I digress.
And here we go.
Welcome, episode 1
Howdy.
of Westward Drift, our new show title.
Yep. Fuck your amateur hour.
Yeah.
Episode 1.
Our old show and the one that copied us by using that name a year like 4 years before us.
Dude, seriously? Can't believe those guys.
Yeah, that woman.
We did 18 shows on Amateur Hour.
Before
14 maybe.
14.
Before we
14
realized
eps.
we were imposters.
Yeah. Which we're sorry about. We didn't mean to
We
infringe.
made absolutely no money.
Yep. We're just 4 guys who want to hang out.
And talk on the record.
Talk about the
On the record, no fact checking.
But the
Check out our OnlyFans later.
themes of the show haven't really changed.
No.
Never.
No,
Same
it's-
show.
Core values.
Different title.
We
Yeah.
still have our core values.
We're going to talk about West Coast surfing, skiing, and just we might drift around other topics as well. We seem to from time to time.
Yeah. No East
You
Coast.
never know.
We could make sojourns to the East Coast. We could
I'm
have
going to the East Coast.
No,
We
dude.
can have
Starting from here on
I'm
out,
gonna do a little-
if you go to the East Coast, you're walking away from this podcast.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah. So
Starting this podcast?
Yep. If you cross the Mississippi, you're dead to
Done.
us.
Oh,
Dunzo. Actually, no. You can be back on the show, Ryan, but I need you to drive to
Back
the other side
for
of
an
the,
episode?
just to the other side of the
You need
Mississippi.
to cross the bridge in Memphis.
Yeah.
What if we did a show next week on I can be on the Mississippi River?
Okay, now you got to move this away from me because now it's like, dude, you can chew directly into the mic, but when it comes time to talk, you're just like all over the place.
No restrictions.
So yeah, you're grandfathered in, Ryan, but we can't have new people
Of course.
chiming in from the East.
Of course.
What if Jay-Z
We might get some new
wanted-
East
what-
Coast followers though.
That's true.
What if Jay-Z wanted? I know, but they're following us because this is a West Coast.
Yeah, because they
I'm just going out there for outreach though. You know, I'm going to be our East Coast representative that'll talk about our show.
Okay.
Wear our merchandise.
Do you think
Maybe meet
Outreach.
Pitbull. Maybe meet Pitbull and get him to do an intro for us.
Maybe he can even write a song about it
ooh yeah, the show's song.
worldwide.
I think you and Mike should do a reggaeton intro for us, though.
Okay.
Like a recorded one, like, you know.
I think
the
like a
Shirt Show
Mac
has
Dre.
that.
I think like a Mac Dre. Because Mike is really good. I think he's really influenced by that. And in his music, especially when he synthesizes, there's some moments where it's like, is Mac Dre about to come on right now?
The
You gotta be
Chaos
careful though. We want to
Oscillator.
stay monetized.
Yeah, we do.
But it's gonna be no vocals.
we need some intro music, and
I disagree, dude. I don't want to sell out. I don't want to sell out. We should just do whatever we want.
well, I think intro music would be cool. I'd enjoy making intro music with Mike. That'd be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if it's Mac Dre-esque, then
Whatever
Yeah.
is
So be
whatever
it.
music, I think they
We're
would
just gonna
be
let
awesome.
it flow. Who knows
Yeah.
what will happen?
you could make
it's
some
a wild
sick
world.
Mac Dre style beats on the Chaos Oscillator, though.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can.
But the K oscillator is limited because it can only do 16 bars worth of looping.
How many bars do we need for an intro?
You could probably run it through a couple times, I guess, but
The
it's
game
repetitive.
needed 300.
Jesus.
Like
Yeah,
it's
just a
super
couple
fun,
times.
but I thought I left that in Mexico. I
Okay.
could not find it for days, but it's back.
Speaking
Nice.
of Mexico, you're recently back
Yeah,
Yeah.
I made it back in.
after brushing up on your paragliding technique. Those videos look pretty
You
Yeah.
did.
pretty
It
spicy.
was, there for nine days total, which is such a long. It's like I think that might be the longest trip I've taken in quite some time. How long was Revelstoke?
It was only
5
5 days.
Yeah.
Whereabouts? Obviously somewhere coastal, but where?
Yeah, I flew into Puerto Vallarta and then took a boat taxi to Yalapa which is like across the bay, a super small, like car-free village,
Okay.
and then did the lessons
So-
there.
Across the Sea of Cortez?
No, it's called like the Bay of Banderas, I think, or something like that. There's a massive bay that Puerto Vallarta like sits
Oh,
kind
okay.
of at like the head
So you're
of.
still on the coast side.
Yeah, you're on the coast. You're just
'Cause there's-
across.
Puerto Vallarta past where the Sea of Cortez kind of begins on the Pacific side, or is it still, if you went inland, you'd eventually encounter the sea?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not totally sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I'd have to look at a map.
I think it's south, right?
Mm-hmm. I think it's south of Baja.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Where, like,
yes,
it
yes,
would
yes.
start.
It's
okay.
definitely south of the tip of Baja by a good bit, I think.
Nice.
And yeah, I didn't go in the water, although I came so close on one of them. It wouldn't have been bad, but it just would have been embarrassing to have to land in the water.
What happens then? Do they come pick you
They
up?
just tow you out, like have the boat come, and like you're probably like tangled in lines, and it's a mess.
You think it'd be embarrassing? You don't think it would be like
Oh.
I pushed it so hard that I ended up
No, it'd be
in the water?
it'd be a badge of dishonor. It'd be like,
So how close?
Do you
did
think you could do it in a way though that the instructor's like, that was sick?
Yeah, like
Yeah, like
backflips the whole way
glide
down.
in on
Like
your
a
feet?
rollover, or what do they call it?
I did. I was so low, far away from like the area that we were supposed to be landing at, that I just had to return immediately, not do anything. And it was like a desperate like glide to try and get to the beach without ending up in the water. And I'll show you a video afterwards. And I got so low, like at the very end, I think everyone in our group thought I was going in, but I was landing downwind, which is not good because then you're going way faster than you want to be. And so I braked really hard at the end, and that gave me enough lift to just barely not go in the water. Like probably,
How far out were you?
I don't know, like half mile maybe.
So if you went in the water, then you just wait and they send out a jet ski or boat.
There's a
or-
boat, the same
Oh.
boat that tows you up would come and like get
Oh,
you.
so they tow you up, kind of like the touristy thing, and then you
Yes.
just detach yourself.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
What's the
So you're-
mechanism like to detach yourself?
It's kind of a cool system. It's like a 2 like straps. And I guess if anyone's watching, we're talking about like a paragliding civ course that was in Mexico. So a place where you like purposefully induce a malfunction in a paragliding wing and then undergo like a series of interventions to get out of it. So you're like simulating something that could happen, like a bad thing, and then figuring out how to like correct it. But it's called a bridle, how you get towed up, and it's a little sketchy when you're first doing it because I've never been towed off a beach. You know, I'm used to like
'cause
running
you
with
you're
a
getting picked up all of a sudden.
yeah, and so it's like straps that hook up, and they have like a little a piece of fabric that you pull, and a pin pops out, and then like a series of like rope connections like unravel,
Okay.
and then you're free. But you like set up on the beach, and it's like a pretty narrow strip of beach, maybe like 15 meters wide, and you set up kind of on the back of it with your wing out, and then the boat goes and takes off, and then you have to like resist it for a while. So there's like tension on it, but you're like fighting it, and then eventually when you feel like you can't fight it, you bring the wing up, and then you just get whisked off the beach. And
Okay, so it's not like you don't have to run or anything.
no, not really. I mean,
Or
you
if
take
you
a
do
couple
it right,
you
don't
take a
need
couple
to.
steps and you're
And then
up
just
in
kind of
there.
jump.
Not jump, but just like go, like
No.
lift. And then you get towed out around the bay. And I think if you do everything perfectly, you're probably at like a little over 2,000 feet of elevation. And then the coach is like coaching you on the radio and being like, all right, now do this and do that. So 5 days
next.
worth of that.
Speed flying.
No, I have such a bit of newfound respect for, I mean, I think I already had respect for it, but I really want to do everything in my power to not get into some of the situations that I encountered like in the class, you know?
So you never want the canopy under you.
No.
What do they call that
that getting
when you-
gift wrapped.
Well, but like
It's not good.
Barrel
it's
roll.
possible.
You
When those guys do those barrel rolls, for a moment the canopy's kind of under them.
you
but
can't
obviously
you can't do a barrel roll with a paraglider though.
You
What are
can't.
those?
Speed wings.
Oh,
Or
what's
mini wings.
what's different?
They're way smaller.
But it's the same general kind of like
It's
shape.
impossible to do a barrel roll with a paraglider. You can do wing overs, so like where you get so high up that you're like kind of above your wing,
Okay.
but you can't do a full loop.
So are
'Cause
those
it would just collapse.
things the
It's
guy?
too long, too many. You're too far away from the wing. Like the lines are so long on a paraglider. I just found this out in this class.
So
'cause
how do
people
you
were
get
asking
gift
about it.
wrapped?
Gift wrapped, you go. There's this move called like a wing over where you get so hot, your body's here and your wing's down here, and you get so high above your wing, and if you didn't have enough speed or like momentum carrying you through, you could fall.
Are there
into your
any
wing.
reserve
Yeah,
situations?
but if you fall into your wing, you're trapped in fabric falling through the sky. You can't, like, even if you could get to your reserve in that situation, it might just not go. It
I've
was
seen
just
some harrowing stuff of people trying to like free themselves
Yeah,
in like
yeah.
Hawaii where they're all tangled and they're like cutting away stuff and then they just in time they get it.
so it made me think that I just got to do everything in my. It's good to know how to deal with that, but I just got to do everything in my power to not have that happen.
A lot of it's probably outside of like skill or lack thereof. I imagine when people get into those situations, a lot of it is probably like going out in the wrong conditions.
Yes. Yep. With not enough experience and yeah. So
So no Santa Ana wind days off San Antonio.
no. But yeah, it was fun being in Mexico, and then I surfed on the last couple days down there, and it was fun. Small but really fun. Like right point break surf, and it's not 118 degrees west. It's like 105, but it's close
Okay.
enough.
Nice.
It's Westward.
Yeah, it is definitely westward.
Well, the season's coming to an end. Mammoth is we're currently sitting at 286.
Yeah,
I'm not mistaken.
our board's not been updated in quite some time, but we're at
Yeah, 286. For a second there, it looked like it might get a little bit closer, but then the storms backed off.
It's pretty impressive how close I think at least me and Davey came to like predicting this year's subpar.
I'm chalking it up to just
meteorology.
luck. I don't think there is any
No.
skill involved in this prediction.
You don't go through 2 quarters of remedial meteorology at South Lake Community College without, making some like pretty spot on weather predictions.
Ryan was our odd man out, the furthest away.
I had to be optimistic though.
He never took it seriously to begin with.
No, I didn't.
So
Because he was on the phone. He wasn't here.
Yeah.
He wasn't feeling the heat.
No, I was just living in it.
Yeah.
in the
You
snow
know,
globe.
After pouring
And it
over
felt like
years and years of
420
historical
inches.
snowfall data, I just kind of knew this was the winter. I'll tell you what next year will be too.
Still above average.
What do you think?
You might not like it, but
What do you think next year will be?
I think we're going to be around 375.
Ooh, that is high.
I'm gonna say 300.
3 hundo?
Mm-hmm.
Again, he's sticking with it.
I'm gonna go lower. I think I'll say 269.
We'll get these all written down.
See, that's a win-win though, because it's either a weak year and you win the bet, or it's a good year and it's a good year. You lose
Well,
the bet,
but-
but it's still a good year.
The good news, as I'm sure you're all aware, is even though Mammoth had a somewhat subpar year,
They didn't.
Yeah, they didn't.
They had a average to a slightly
They're
above
still
average
open.
year.
no, but in terms of actual snowfall, they're below
coming
their
on
average
Memorial
amount of
Day.
snowfall. So
Their
that's subpar.
what their marketing material says is
Yeah.
there.
No, but even if you go look at other sites, not Mammoth, they average more than
Do they? Not
Yeah.
too much more though. than
Mammoth
that.
says they average 400
That's
a year.
not true though.
But if you look at like Mammoth Mountain Snowman, a lot of those other ones,
Yeah.
I think they estimate like 325 or 330. So
I think actually I've seen higher, even I've seen 360.
so
Really?
it was
as
definitely
average.
below average, but the like drought wise, Northern California and like Central California are like doing great, like reservoir wise. And actually, it was a pretty good rain year for like Tahoe North got pretty good amount of like above average snowfall.
yeah.
Like the
Fascinating.
Northern Sierra. So
And Mammoth is still open.
Still open.
No closing date
Although-
in sight.
No,
And it was open a lot this year
do you
too,
know how
because it
rare it
wasn't
is
a
for
stormy
Mammoth to
winter.
close before May 31st? It's very rare.
Is it?
Yes. Look at their
Yeah, I think
closing
that
date.
is probably pretty
Last
rare.
year they closed Memorial Day.
to not make it to Memorial Day in Mammoth is like a horrific season.
Yeah, I think normally on a low year they say Memorial Day. That's it.
I do think though that 75% of the time they make it into June.
But it's crazy to think
Yeah,
all
that's
that
probably
separates a stellar season from a horrific season is really only about 4.5 weeks of skiing.
Yeah, but it's a type
The
of skiing
yeah.
too. You know, like on
That's
a
true.
horrific year, what do they have open at the end?
God, can you imagine a freak winter where they just say we're not closing?
Hey, when was they relatively recently? They're
August.
open until August.
Me and
Yeah.
Brad skied August 7th.
Yeah, and then I think that next year they opened in October.
So 10 months,
No, 3 months.
Oh, you're saying 10-month
Or-
season?
9.5 month season.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And whenever I remember that year, that was maybe 3 years?
2017.
No, that
No,
was
more recent.
2023
2021.
and 22 and 23, because it was the year before I started working
Yeah, there's
at June.
a relatively recent year where I was skiing on Halloween at Mammoth from the top and in good conditions. I remember.
So theoretically, probably that meant that year a lot of the snow got covered by new snow.
Yeah, I think there was a
Well, there was a glacier,
there's a
on,
glacier on
Dave's.
Dave's. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
crazy. It was just like a ice sheet, and I think it made it really sketchy when snow did fall on it because they couldn't get it to stick for a while.
Although I'm not buying a Icon Pass this year, so it will probably be a bang up year.
Banner year.
The first 3 months will be like crazy.
You doing Eagle Point?
We might go to Bryan Head for a trip or two, and then we're gonna get a Icon Pass in the spring. But I just can't abide by Alterra's greedy money grubbing.
So you're just
ways.
gonna take a 7-month or 8-month hiatus and then
You could still backcountry ski.
Yeah, I'll backcountry ski, go to Bryan Head.
Will you go to the
Just-
locals? Will you ski Baldy?
I don't think I'll ski Baldy,
It'd be a cheap
It
ticket.
is real snow.
but I don't. Is it that cheap of a ticket?
Baldy?
Yeah,
I,
I
think
mean,
they run promotions all the time just to like try and get people up there. Have you skied there before, Ryan?
No.
Real men
haven't.
snowshoe there.
I
You
think the
think-
first time that we were getting into snowshoeing, our first
Yeah.
time at Baldy trying to summit that peak, we got stuck behind a big group of tourists that we didn't want to wait behind, and so we just figured we're like they all turned up the actual trail, and I think we decided we're like let's just cross country,
scoffed.
like our way up to Baldy, and then we were like got lost and on like some like iced up hillside, like front pointing with like shitty REI crampons. I remember and thinking like, oh man, if we fall here, this is not good.
Yeah,
And then eventually getting closer and closer to what we thought was the summit and hearing people, and we're like, oh, there's like other people on the summit. And then we popped over like a ridge onto the ski resort.
Yeah.
And there's just people like beginners snowboarding and skiing. We're like, oh, we're
Then we
not
crossed-
anywhere near the summit.
Remember we crossed the ski run and we I remember one time being up on the side of the ski run, posted up smoking weed
Just
while
like,
people
what are
were
we-
snowboarding past in Raiders gear and everything.
And then I think we glissaded down the runs
Yeah, down the main run.
Yep.
Right.
faster than a lot of people were skiing and boarding down the main run.
Ski patrol didn't have anything to say to us.
No, I think ski patrol at Baldy keeps it fast and loose.
Yeah. I would imagine. It's got to be pretty
I think it's pretty
low key.
Yeah, it might be volunteer, honestly.
Yeah.
So no Altera.
maybe
pass.
not.
They
It might be.
probably have a lot of other things to
I bet-
occupy themselves with.
I bet you not all the positions are volunteer, but I bet you it's heavily staffed with volunteers
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Yeah.
Free
I think
pass
even
to
Bear
Baldy.
has volunteers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or they used
June
to.
did for a while too.
That'd be so chill.
Maybe.
They
I don't
did.
know.
Yeah,
Tahoe
Bear did for
does.
sure.
Maybe it'll be a season of the backcountry for you, Dave, or maybe you'll start exploring some like lesser known resorts.
How many backcountry days did you get this year, Davey?
5.
I think you got more than me.
Nice.
It was not a good backcountry year for me. The most recent backcountry trip that we went on was the worst one I think I've ever been on, snow conditions wise.
Oh, the one with Lizzie?
Yeah.
Wait, the one to Charlton with Lizzie?
Yep. We didn't make it to Charlton. We stopped. We had like some time crunch and we're like, oh, we'll have a half day. And we barely made it to snow and we skinned for like 10 minutes on snow and then turned right back.
This winter was not a good winter for
Did
the
you
locals.
get any skiing on the
No,
way?
we got skinning and hiking with heavy backpacks with skis on top of them.
At least you guys weren't post-holing.
True.
I've had some miserable expeditions.
Although post-holing would have been, what's worse, post-holing? I mean, at least
I feel like I'm
post-holing.
George Mallory.
Well, if you were
you know?
post-holing
I'm
and you
like,
had skis, you wouldn't be post-holing because you put skis
think about
on.
my mountaineering career. I really am like a Andrew Irvine or George Mallory. I just never have had the right gear, hobnail boots,
You were
just, like,
born
not the
30
right-
years too early.
not the right clothes, constantly like, just braving the elements.
But
a 5-pound bag of apples.
Cast iron frying pan,
A roll of bread,
Yeah.
some oil.
sinking through up to my waist in like bad poor
Potatoes.
conditions. But like still soldiering on.
A really good pair of denim with some long johns underneath for
The
warmth.
only difference, they had
And a
hobnail boots.
wetsuit for lake jumping.
They had hobnail boots. I had red Nikes, but the similarities are very eerily.
your T-Mac 3s.
That was a terrible trip. I remember the amount of effort exerted every time. And the worst part is
What
like
trip?
I did a trip with him and Steve during COVID where
to Charlton.
I made it pretty far up. I made it to like the base of
So
San G.
Yeah, this is in the
Or, like-
San Bernardino Mountains, like kind of like on the outskirts of like where Bear Mountain is located.
What do you think I make to about 10K
Yeah.
roughly?
But you didn't have a split board.
I
You
had
had-
snowshoes, which didn't work. So eventually I abandoned the snowshoes, or maybe I didn't, but I was taking these steps where I'd sink. Sometimes I'd only sink about 9 inches, and that would be like, okay, whew. But then every third or fourth step, I would have ones where I'd go up to here, or sometimes almost nipple deep.
Yeah.
And the amount of energy required to like extricate myself with the snowshoe.
Especially because I think there were bushes underneath a lot of the snow, so you could
Manzanita.
easily get snowshoes caught in a bush when you're trying to like.
So eventually I had to abandon the snowshoes, and at that point I was just boot packing. Oh my God. That was absolutely horrific.
You did not snowboard that day.
No,
think
I
you just
got up.
hung out in
I
the
was
hammock.
absolutely spent, and then I snowboarded down from the hammock.
I have a photo of Jesse like in the hammock, like relaxing, just throwing a shaka, and just you were not.
I probably burned quite a few calories. And then eventually I was like, "Well, I'm leaving," and I bailed. Well, you guys skied, and it ended up somehow. I got back on that like logging road or whatever that is, but somehow I missed our turnoff,
Oh, no.
and I ended up in some fucking camp with like a Mexican dude, and he spoke no English, and I was like, where's the Priuses or whatever? Where's the Honda? And he's like, no say or whatever. And so I wandered for like another 40 minutes, like traipsing, and eventually found the car. But yeah, that was quite a day. Only second to Mount Shasta, although that was successful.
Yeah, we summited Mount Shasta and snowboarded
And
it.
snowboarded it. Yeah.
That was a summit in style.
Yeah, we did the Cassaville Ridge.
That was a really fun.
It was a fun
Route.
trip and fun day. We started off that trip just getting pillaged by birds. I think all of our food,
Wait, really?
or most of our food, got like blown up by birds or some other animal. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We left it out, and then we were like, all right, what do we have? Some
we
bars.
slept in tents, right?
Yeah.
If you
We
think
didn't
about
sleep
it,
in the
that
in the
still
hut.
might be our single greatest gain of elevation. In California across like a 24-hour span.
I
Bunny
think-
Flat 6,300, something
to
like that.
14.
Almost about 8K.
Maybe for us, Tyndall. Oh, that wasn't one day
Yeah.
though.
I think Langley
Yeah, Langley, Tuttle Creek is like
is a
that.
lower drainage, maybe. It's like 5. It's so low.
Oh, not the way I did it.
No,
Or-
not the Horseshoe Meadows, but the Tuttle Creek way.
Oh, okay.
And you started at Tuttle Creek, although we didn't summit. That was also a very Mallory
uh,
trip of yours.
you guys didn't summit either, though, right?
no,
You
not
didn't make
that
it
trip.
too much farther than I did, but I
No.
did turn back on that one. Yeah, I've had some. You know what? It's best to know. That's why, like, once you get in the death zone, you either need to push on or, but like the clock's ticking at that point. No,
What's your death zone? Like 8,700 to
What's the snowshoes go on?
7,500 to 9,500 feet, depending on
Tahoe's a no-go.
other conditions. You know, It's
That's
like,
not even that high. That's like June Lake
Yeah, but
and Mammoth Lake.
once you get in that
That's where most of the deaths happen.
Yeah.
once you get in that zone, your body literally can't. Your body starts eating itself. Like
Yeah,
you're
how
not
did you
gonna
make
be-
how did you
how
make
did
it a
you-
whole
how
season
how
in
do
June?
people like live up there?
That's crazy.
They don't. It's a Mandela effect. People never lived in the mountains.
They're actors that come out just when you show up.
That's so
Altitude
wild.
actors.
I know my
Paid
body.
Hey,
for
that could have
by-
been a good name for this show.
Altitude actors. That is pretty good. Yeah, it's hiking is sometimes you feel it, sometimes you don't. But I will say
For real though, hey, that's something that me and you are pretty aligned on, Jesse. I
But I
think
will say-
feel it more than you do sometimes, but I have a similar attitude where
you
fuck
wait.
it,
You
dude.
feel it more than me? I'd say that's debatable. I mean,
oh,
What for hiking?
in terms of like willingness to accomplish objective, I would lump us in the same.
Wait, Ryan, you're a
category.
little bit of an outsider in this conversation. Who do you think? I've been on more trips with both of them.
Well, I've seen David in firsthand action.
You haven't been on. Have you
A
been on?
lot
You've been on
more.
a trip with Jesse. Just
Backpack
not-
yeah,
trip?
but
I don't
most of
know.
Ryan's seeing me in action is me bailing.
That's what I'm saying. So I feel like David is.
I'm not saying I'm much better or even better, but I don't think I'm worse. Like, let me just say this: most of the times we've been on trips together, and I've bailed. It
What do you mean
hasn't been-
bail? What's bail?
Been like,
not going
I'm
the
not
trip?
going to the summit.
Okay.
I'm not doing it.
That's
Or-
like
or-
peak bag. That's
or
like
I'm over this. I'm over
I've
it.
usually had
Yeah.
a willing participant, and David like, yeah, we'll get them later. Like we're gonna fish or we're gonna.
Okay. Hey, I won't. I'll say we're even then. All right.
All right.
David and I honed our bailing early on in our backpacking and mountaineering career. Even when you were more psyched to
Yeah.
do stuff, we could easily just be like, well, next time.
Yeah, I love that though.
It's a good way to be in the mountains.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
I
Life's-
like the idea of just saying like, yeah, I might do that, and then
almost like
oftentimes
the
not
hype about it.
following through.
Yeah.
Remember David that day one? I was like,
Day one
we
of
were-
what?
when we were gonna do Tyndall
Oh yeah, yeah.
and we were just camping at your car. I was like, I love this. You know, it's like day one. We have no idea what we're gonna do. Anything is possible this trip.
I don't.
We
think,
have some plans, but who knows? And we bailed on it all
Yep.
and found a beautiful night in June.
At every opportunity, we chose the easier, more enjoyable route.
And it was so awesome.
Yep. True
Like
that.
Fern Lake was gorgeous.
I don't think I've ever been to Fern Lake not in the winter. I think
Yeah, it
I've
was
only
gorgeous.
been
It was
there-
really nice. It's actually really chill.
Like, would you go back and camp there, backpack there?
Under the same circumstances, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a great place. It'd be a great place to be like my girls' first backpacking place.
Because it's relatively short hike,
yeah,
right?
it's like a mile and a half.
yeah, it's
I
pretty
think.
easy.
Still proved too much for Ryan.
Wow. Circumstantial.
I
Circumstantial.
know. He was puking.
Circumstantial.
make
I got to
a
go through
mile
and
and a
I got to
half.
post that
It's
video. I'm gonna
it's
post
a
it on
pretty-
this. I'll
it's a
post it
lot
on
of
this channel.
Zigzags that go. Like it's a strenuous.
It's very
mile and a
long.
half.
It's very long, Your Honor.
It-
Wasn't it because you had just cleaned out your fridge?
Yeah, milk too. It
And
was
you ate a
like
cinnamon
spoiled
roll.
milk.
he tried to blame it on a cinnamon roll that I gave him, and I was like, I don't know, dude. I had like 3 of those, and I didn't.
Well, I think it was the combination of everything.
Although, dude, there was a point though on that trip where I got baked on the hike in, and there was like a log across a river, but it was like a big
Yeah.
log, like 2 feet wide, right? but I was just so like, I think it was just sensory overload from the rushing water. So I was like, I can't get across this thing. I had trekking poles.
And steep embankment too. Like if you would have misstepped on that
Yeah,
bridge.
like falling would not have been chill. But, like I would have like probably gotten hurt, but like it was so easy to do. Like you could do. I could have done it with my eyes closed, but I was just like, hold on, Ryan, I gotta, and I had to like back away from it. And I had to like
Study it.
yeah, I had to be like compose myself. And be like, dude, you got this. You got this. Just fucking get on it and go straight. And like I did, and I got across. I was like, Ryan, man, that was crazy.
What an adventure.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Even if you choose the path of least resistance, you'll find it.
That was epic. And the bugs were pretty mild until nighttime.
Yep.
Nighttime, that
This
was
will
pretty
be a good bug
ruthless.
year.
Dude, I got lit up by bugs recently in like Arrowhead or like Crestline. I didn't even realize it, and I normally do not get bothered by bugs, but my legs got absolutely like destroyed.
That sucks.
It bothered me for like a week. Like when the first couple days, like when I was in Mexico, I was just, like go to night, like scratching my legs, just like, oh, dude. And I don't know what this is. I don't know if you can do that at all, Brian, but I have like these like bump rash, like kind of on my fingers, I think from jellyfish in Mexico.
Oh, sea lice.
Sea lice? Okay.
Yeah. Don't touch them.
Okay.
Because it's like if you touch
been
it,
I've
it
been licking
irritates
them.
it.
No, I haven't been messing with them. They don't bother me at all.
Yeah, but it itches a little bit.
I feel like I got that in Costa Rica.
Costa
when I went
Rica
there.
had a lot of sea
Yeah, I got
lice.
lit up in Costa Rica too.
Lot
I
of
started
sea
wearing a
lice.
wetsuit.
But sea lice are just baby jellyfish, right?
Yeah, I mean, they technically don't know what they are.
I don't think that's true.
I don't know. Allegedly.
Before MK Ultra, there were no sea lice.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know that, but
Well,
I don't know
Just
really. They could be nanobots. They could be.
that's true. Okay, I'll take that as an argument.
Hey, as long as we're talking about backpacking or Mallory like adventures, should we tell some like Steve stories? It's Steve's birthday today.
Oh, it is.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Steve.
birthday,
Happy
Steve.
I
birthday,
doubt-
Steve.
I doubt he's watching, but
I know, dude. That makes me so sad because I
Steve,
consider Steve to be a close friend, and he likes comedy, allegedly. And dude, he's not going to listen to our.
Yeah, we're funny.
yeah, there's been a lot of
I'm sure
Oh,
we've
there's
had
some
at
good
least
Steve
a
stories.
giggle tonight.
I think our first
Steve.
back-
We should.
Wait, although should we really be talking about Steve on?
No, these aren't personal stories.
and nobody's going to watch it. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I would really want somebody talking about me.
what if they're glowing you up?
I mean, they're not bad stories.
All right, you guys talk about it all you want, Steve. I'm gonna keep your life out of my mouth.
I mean, they're just sharing backpacking stories. It's not like
What was
the
was
best.
In general, I think probably for me, I'm gonna just stick to stories about me and the people that are on the show.
All right,
with
I'll
me.
tell a Steve story, and if Steve, if you take offense, call me.
we can redact it.
The best
No,
was
just come beat his ass, Steve.
the best was when we went on our first. I think it was our first trip with him, and
Was that to June?
The June.
So it was a winter trip.
Late winter, right? It was like a March or April
yeah.
trip.
We were on skis and
Shh, remember?
snowboards.
You can't be part of this.
No, I'm gonna talk about you. But
And
just
it's not. I
Steve.
mean, it's not so much a Steve story as
This
it's
trip
more,
was a great trip.
Yeah.
more of a reflection of us. I think Greg Meyer came along on
He
this one
did.
too.
Greg was there.
And we take the lifts. Somehow we got on the
we
lifts.
took
We
the-
had passes.
We took the lifts at June, and then Steve didn't have a pass and just started snowshoeing up the
And
side
they
of the
got-
run at June.
and they
and-
told him no.
Yeah.
Patrol came, and they're like, "Dude, you can't.
Yeah, you
like,
can't do that.
you can't do that." And he's like, "Well, my friends are going backcountry skiing," and they're like, "All right, just get on. We'll take you to the top and let you go."
Yeah.
So we got to the
That's
top.
right.
We were all snowboarders then,
Yep.
and we all had snowshoes. I'm sure ski patrol was like these.
No, I had a split
I
board.
think we had
Did you have a split
boards.
board?
Yeah,
Oh,
You had snowshoes.
I don't.
Steve had snowshoes.
Jesse
Jesse
did.
had.
The coverage was not great on the back of June. I guess it normally isn't. Sometimes due to the like wind scouring.
It was pretty
Yeah.
good.
I think-
And the sun.
But
I think it was
so we were
good.
plodding through like a combination of like bushes and like snow, and at some point we lost the route. Finding got difficult, and we started to bicker amongst ourselves, and the bickering,
As you do.
yeah, as what you do, and the bickering kind of like reached a frenzied pace. And at one point, I think Steve became alarmed at like, if this is going to
Or
be the
just
whole trip,
annoyed,
or
probably.
annoyed, like if this is going to be the whole trip, this would be miserable. We were yelling at one another and cussing, and eventually he tried to like lay down the law, and he's like, "All right, that's enough," and everyone suddenly was united in their like, we all shut him down instantly. We were like, "No, like stop it, like
This is a way.
this
If you can't backpack
if
with
you
us
don't-
at our worst, you don't deserve backpacking with us at our best.
And I think Steve was kind of like shocked because like it's like we turned into like one organism all at once, and suddenly
We settled our differences quickly.
Maybe that was Steve's plan all along. He was like, dude, this is
They
insufferable.
need
I
someone
gotta
to hit.
unite
They need
them.
a common enemy. Dude, that was in my Avi course when the instructor was like, and group dynamics are important. Like, have you guys ever gotten in an argument with the people you tour? And everybody else is like, oh, no. Like, I would never. And I thought like, yeah,
Always.
dude, like you don't get in arguments with the people that you tour.
I remember we got
You mean like every day, or
we got in a brutal
The
argument
beginning,
going up
the end.
Shasta too.
yeah?
I don't
I
know
think
what,
you've told. the
Although
story.
it is interesting
Yeah.
though, because me and Jake don't really argue that much.
No.
what are you trying to say?
Me and Ryan don't argue that much. Ryan and Jake don't argue that much.
Yeah,
There's something about
you.
But you bring a special fire to trips.
but
Just
there's
yeah.
it's not like the arguing is just you two against me all the time. I like find a way to make it about us. Like you're arguing.
No,
with
no,
him,
no.
I'm
There-
arguing-
no, it is a unique dynamic when all of us are
For sure.
together. I agree.
But yeah, poor Steve. He had he had never been on a trip with us, and I think he thought we were all going to be like, "Hey, man, so sorry. Like, you're right. Like, what are we doing?"
You're right. ELE.
But everyone turned on him.
I think we gained respect from Steve by not kowtowing
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah, and just realize, okay, that's just the way they are.
Yeah,
that was a good trip. I had to sleep with
We-
Greg.
I think
That though is like the sign. Like I actually would respect somebody a lot too if they decided that they would rather get into a fight with someone else than stop fighting with with their other friends. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
no, I'm not, I don't want to back down from this, and I'll fucking start something new with you
Yeah.
if you want to keep this
It kind
up.
of reminded me of that scene in Ted 2 where they're arguing across the apartments, and then the lady tries to open the apartment and tell them to shut up, and they both turn on the lady. Like,
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I haven't seen it either.
what? Well, it's
But
kinda
it
how
is a
was.
little bit like the same idea of, if you're driving a little recklessly and somebody says, I would do it this way, and be like, a man would rather crash his car than be told how to drive.
For sure. For
And
sure.
it's, I think, the same logic. Like, yeah, we don't want to can't be restricted in the way that we backpack. But
I love that, dude. That is one of my favorite pieces of wisdom I've ever heard. I think about that all the time, actually. And I try to instill that into my girls too.
The best is when I first tried that on for size around a old buddy of mine who was like a car nut and like total gearhead, but also a little neurotic. He got it. Like I didn't even have to explain that it was like a saying.
real chillers get it.
Yeah,
Like-
dude, it's not hard to get. Like,
But I said those exact. I didn't like amend it in any way. Josh, a man would rather crash his car than be told how to drive. For sure. No, I get it. And I did. I crashed it. Not on that trip, but I did manage to total it. So, and no one told me how to drive.
I guess in that regard, Lauren lives by it too.
It's a good code to live by.
Yeah.
So what's up with surfing? Anybody surfing lately? I went surfing lately.
I got a trip planned in October. It's gonna be epic.
You've been
supposed to
surfing
be-
recently,
Yeah, it's supposed to be pumping this
Locally.
weekend.
like big.
Yeah, like
For-
No,
more-
pumping out really like small 9-inch. Like,
Well, it
like
could be
overhead, like said a couple
small
feet
but good.
overhead.
Hey,
Really?
actually, does for pumping for surf, does that always mean big, or can that just mean like solid and good? Does it have to?
I think it could be solid and good. I think
pumping
like,
has at least a connotation of like somewhat larger than normal.
I do feel like it's got to be shoulder high and up for it to be pumping,
Pumping.
right? Like it
Yeah.
can still be really good and shoulder high and less.
Yeah.
Or what if
But-
it's just
Firing?
like, what if it's only the
Yeah, then that's just
stomach
firing.
high? What if it's stomach high, but it's just a wave machine, like it's nonstop waves?
That's firing.
Firing. So firing can be stomach high. What about really consistent, good shape knee high?
milking.
And it's just
I don't know.
consistent. It's just
Like
consistent.
really fun longboarding surf.
Yeah.
I think you could say that's firing,
2 feet.
right? You could say Refugio is firing if it's really sweet and doing its thing, and it's
Yeah.
only 2 feet.
I would love to surf Rincon when it's 2 foot and firing.
Yes,
That'd be
I
epic.
agree.
So there's a
You gotta
swell.
go right when it's
Straight
right
south
after the
or
high
more
tide.
of a-
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's low south.
Nice.
That way the parking lot is not full.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, it's too high tide. And then you go in.
I've never surfed Rincon before.
I've done it
You would
once.
love
and I
it.
did that.
I've surfed it a handful of times, and it's
It
the
was
best
fun.
wave. Better than uppers.
Yeah.
Better than Malibu.
You've been surfing uppers recently,
Yep, I went down
like
to
a decent
uppers.
amount,
You
right?
see, they're putting a train stop there for the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they are.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a big controversy.
What's the word on the street in San Clemente, Davey? How do people feel about it?
SC boys only.
Yeah, they only like it up the ass. Dude, that's one of the best. Yeah, for the viewers out there. So on the walk down to the uppers surf spot, there's always like graffitied messages on there. At one time, somebody put SC boys only. And then some Weisenheimer came by afterwards and put an arrow and put like it up the ass below it so that it read SC boys only like it up the ass. And that's one of the best things of graffiti I've ever seen.
That it was so fun. It's like a decently
Dude,
long
that
walk.
sucks that they're gonna put a train
It's
stop
like a
there.
Yeah,
mile.
it does.
I don't. Is it
Yeah.
That
gonna
is
be
a
a
bummer.
temporary one? Maybe.
I have no idea.
Where
Well, you
would they
still
even
can't
put it?
even take a surfboard on the train, though, technically, still, right?
Well, this is just
I
for
don't
like
know.
viewers. Like, I
But
think.
just to
It'll be
Just
that,
doesn't need any
surfing.
more development than is
that
there.
area will be unsurfable for quite a while. I feel like even after the Olympics, it'll just bring so much more people out of the woodwork. Tourists coming down to.
I don't think so.
But it won't. Maybe for the Olympics.
I
think
bet
about
it'll
it.
I think the
return to
Olympics
normal
people
pretty
will
quickly.
be down there.
I think Tressla's is such a high profile
Yeah,
like
it's already packed.
spot.
it's
Yeah,
already
that like
packed.
it's not going to be any worse with surfers, and I think it's not that appealing of a beach for the average beachgoer. There's the only bathrooms there are porta potties.
Although, what if for the Olympics they built, like
Yeah, if they build a station there,
I hope that they can't because it's military.
and it might, well, and maybe because of the ecological with the like little river creek thing.
Yeah,
It's not. Yeah, I would
I know,
def-
but then I could also see them saying like, well, it would
'Cause
be
the
more
steelhead-
ecological to put in full bathrooms.
we're gonna
here.
cement in the estuary
Because you got the
is
steelhead
that really
though.
the best wave they have
Steelhead
to offer
trout.
for the Olympics in California?
in Southern California.
Yeah,
Mm,
I mean,
so it's
well,
close
Rincon
prox-
is Southern California.
Yeah, but
It's
that's
too
not as
fickle.
close to LA.
And it's not.
And it's not a summer spot, and
No.
it's too
Yeah.
fickle. But dude,
I mean, it's
Lowers-
where they hold the
I mean,
title.
Mhm.
Lowers is one of the best waves in the world.
Yeah,
It's one of the
Oh.
best. It's one of the best high
High-performance
performance
waves.
surfing wave on
Yeah,
the West
but it's-
Coast.
Yeah, but in terms, of,
Rincon is maybe better.
it's not a. It's I don't know.
Lowers is
Rincon's like a barrel. Lowers is like high performance, like linking turns, airs.
so left and a right too, which
Yeah.
I think almost doubles its like
Yeah.
playing.
You would be, all of us here would be so ecstatic if you could score on like a surf trip, lowers wave.
Oh yeah,
All to yourself,
Somewhere?
or
Yeah.
just your group.
Uh,
It would be insane.
Lowers is my favorite. Is one of my favorite contest venues for the.
I agree.
Do you
Champions
ever
at
even
shore.
go to Lowers though, or no?
No,
Never.
Uppers.
It's just too much.
Lowers is
Yeah.
really crowded.
it's really crowded, and it's a style of like surfing that I don't like in the crowd, where it's like burn or be burned, and I don't like that. You know.
Yeah.
Because I'm usually the one being burned.
Although uppers, I will say, hold the crowd. Very nice. I remember we went there. Do you remember that?
Sometimes,
We
It
went
can-
there on that massive south. Do you remember that day where Danny was going to go with us and then bailed maybe? It was probably like 6 to 8 feet with like larger sets.
I remember going there
Yeah.
with you.
yeah, but I feel like the crowd at Uppers, because it's like a little more of like a point, they can be a little more of like speed bumps as you're trying to
just-
surf down the line. You're like, oh shit, it's like a group of 5 of them.
But
And you're
it's
trying
when
to
there's
like manage now.
that much water moving around. There was probably, when we went, there was probably like 80, 90 people out, but it was like, seemed like there was no issues getting waves. It's,
Uppers is also really easy to
Which time
sit
surfing was this? Jess?
a little bit like down the point, and you can usually like pick off like, people will fall or waves won't connect through. It just feels easier to get waves at Uppers.
And
It definitely
there's,
is. than
There's
lowers.
conditions too that you can go to Uppers, like special times of the day and like
Yeah.
certain events too that you can go to and get it almost like you can get it like almost empty, like practically empty.
they should do the Olympic event at the point.
David
Just
will
wait
give
for a
out
big
those
South.
particular circumstances on the Patreon.
Check our Patreon and I'll let you know when it's good to go to Uppers. Right after I've gotten mine, I'll alert the Patreon channel. It's good, guys. Go get it.
Or how sick would it be if the Olympics, they just held it the wedge? Like performance.
No,
like,
you know where I was worried they were going to do it at? The wave pool.
wave
Yeah.
pool.
Oh, that would have been lame.
Yeah.
Have you been seeing those? Some of these waves they're getting out of these wave pools. It is pretty cool.
You can invest in
You can like
Wave
choose your
lakes.
There's
own.
one.
I
There's one
like, I
coming
like the
here.
Wave Lakes one.
yeah,
They're
surf
gonna build one
lakes.
in
The,
Newport.
Surf
the
lakes.
plunge pool one, right?
Yeah,
Have you
surf
been seeing
lakes.
some of
That's
them?
what it's
You can
called.
like order up a 4-foot slab.
Yeah, but they're not. I think they're really good for like practicing. It would be really fun to surf. They're not. They do not make compelling watching.
No,
They're
No.
the most boring waves to watch people
Well,
surf.
totally.
It's
like
not interesting.
wave selection and like the timing of sets is
For
such
sure.
important element of watching professional surf contests. Like, dude, it's pretty compelling to be like, okay, there's 5 minutes left. A surfer needs to score, and who knows if a
Yeah.
wave's going to come through that's even going to give them the opportunity to get that score.
Yeah, it's
if
like
someone
it-
said I
it-
could go to Kelly Slater's pool.
Oh, I
do
think
it
it'd
in a
be
heartbeat.
outrageously fun to surf, and it's almost as equally and outrageously boring to watch.
Let me
Yes.
ask you this though:
unless it was a buddy.
if you had a choice,
Unless you were watching a buddy do it.
Yeah, if you were there, like
Yeah.
yeah.
dude, I would be so bored out of my mind watch. I mean, I'd
Well,
be
and you
pumped
got to
for
surf.
you.
Like if
Of
you were
course,
waiting,
yeah,
and
yeah,
like
but-
you surf a wave.
Yeah,
and-
but could you imagine if I was like, dude, I just want you to come watch me surf the wave pool. I
yeah, I
can't
only got
afford.
access for one.
Would
Would
you
you
do
do
it?
it?
No, fuck no,
No.
dude. I wouldn't.
Because
go
it's in the
just
middle
watch.
of nowhere. It's in Lemoore.
They're expensive.
Listen, okay,
Maybe
You
you
get-
get one run. Maybe.
you get an hour of surf by yourself in the Kelly Slater's wave pool, or like, let's say like 5 to 7 foot lowers.
By yourself?
Yep.
Oh, come
lowers
That's
yeah,
not
for
fair.
sure.
lowers.
easily.
Lowers for sure.
I mean, I agree totally.
Yeah.
But it's not. I don't think it's that. I mean, I like surfing in the ocean.
I think it'd be way rare to get 5 to 7
I
foot.
think that's literally equivalent.
yeah,
Jake,
five,
just,
5 to 7. I
that-
would
that-
even say
that's
like
equivalent
2
saying,
to
like,
4
You get to take a run
lowers.
down Mammoth.
Yeah.
That'd be like saying you get a powder day at Mammoth, or you get drugged to the top of the biggest peak in the Sierra, as long as you're guaranteed your safety on like you're gonna take the open line, right? Like if someone said like you don't have to do the work and you get to go down like whatever line you want in the Sierra and it'll be safe, or you just to get to go down the top of Mammoth on a powder day, like you're gonna do that line.
Oh, it's kind of a tough one though, because I know Mammoth so well that I feel like I would probably be able to get my.
Yeah,
Skiing
Mammoth,
worth.
all to yourself on a powder
I think
day.
we agree.
I think if the other option was just like unlimited heli runs in the backcountry, I would take that.
Yeah.
No, one heli run in
Well-
the backcountry versus one top to bottom run pow day early up at Mammoth.
Oh yeah, I'd take the backcountry.
yeah, I
peak
would do
for
the heli
sure.
too.
I mean, I think I
You could
probably
just
would
get,
too,
if it
because
you
it's,
could
was-
get way more vert.
It's
if
also
you
more
just go
rare.
to way more
but
rare.
though I think I would have more fun though doing the Mammoth run because I know like you know what I mean.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
you'd be familiar with the terrain.
yeah.
You could like link it.
I think it's about the novelty.
All right. In this example, you get a top to bottom run at Mammoth on like a insane pow day. Which way are you going? What are you skiing?
I'm probably going.
Do you start at the G2 at the gondola, or do you start at 23?
Let's go top of the roller coaster.
Yeah, either top of roller coaster or I'm gonna go head over to Eagle.
I think Dave's run.
Dave's to what?
Dave's.
Like, where do you end up at?
I know that's the tough part because
No, wait,
then you get down to
on a
Eagle.
trackless powder day.
Yep.
I'm going wipe out or drop out probably.
So you're going to 23.
Yeah.
I'm going over to Dragon's Back and then dipping.
It's a lot of traversing to use on a powder day.
And why
But you
would
start
you don't
from
need
Dave's
to?
and then you go all the way
it's
down there.
Deep out. You could drop
Yeah.
anywhere off the top. You could drop MJBs.
I like the
Totally
maybe
on
the
track.
Paranoids.
Paranoid.
But it would just be fun to do like Dave's, like get that steepness from Dave's, and then also be able to drop.
Do you go Upper Dry Creek, or do you? Which way do you come?
Upper
after you
Dry
ski?
Creek on a powder day can get kind of slow, right?
Yeah, I don't think I would go to Upper
So where
Dry
would you
Creek.
go? You come out of Dave's,
I would go to 9.
okay, and then you ski trees under 9.
Yeah, I would go like down
Lift line?
Dragon's Tail and all that area.
No, you
Oh,
can't.
so you would
Oh.
ski Dave's and then cut over hard to
Yeah,
Dragon
and
Tail.
like go that way.
You guys are traversing a lot.
I know
in these
traversing
things.
too much. Although I guess it's kind of a good way to do it though because
If I'm going a powder
you're
day, I'm going
going, like-
straight down. I'm going from the top.
I
down.
think
But-
there's no terrain
but
that
you-
you want to hit.
but you want to.
I mean, I'll hit terrain off to the sides, but why?
I just want to have a
deviate?
long
But
run.
you want to traverse though to get to a little bit better terrain. Like if you're
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
down wipe out, drop out,
Yeah.
you don't want to just go all the way down Broadway, right? You want to
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
cut over
I
and
cut
go.
into some trees, but I'm generally following the run, deviating a little to the right, a little to the left, all the way down. That's the longest run you could do.
I think you go. I would go
Cornice
G2.
down.
Hangman's. Come down and traverse above, or like under 3, and make it to the terrain that's like above 5
Yeah,
that we've skied at before.
yeah.
Ski that, and then come down near like Wall Street, and then hit that last section that either takes you down to the mill, or I think you can go to Canyon from there. It'd be 3 like good. Obviously, the first part would be the longest duration steep part, but then you get 2 more like technical droppy
That is
type.
one drawback from Mammoth is like the vertical is not very easy to link up. When they say it's a, what is it,
3,000.
3,000 of vertical, it's
What do you mean? You can do that
can
in
do
one
it
run so
easily.
easily.
no, it's hard to link up most of the mountain and get 3K of vertical.
No,
'Cause
it's not.
Yeah.
No,
So
you just
on
go
a
to-
powder day, you're traversing all over the mountain.
When you're
On
going to
a
the
on
top,
a Grimmer day,
if you
you
go
can't
down
figure
the-
out how to get from the top
You
to
go
the
to
bottom.
I know, but that's so I'm saying you're I didn't say it was impossible. I'm saying you're forced to head in very one direction of the mountain. You're not getting 3K of vertical going this way,
Yeah,
this way, this way. Most of it all funnels you down into
Eagle.
Main Lodge,
And that's only 2.
and that's 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I
about
see what you're
Stump?
saying. Yeah, to get to
Stump is also high,
Yeah.
relatively high.
So the only way to get that full vertical is go down to Eagle, and if it's not a powder day, that's
you
not
don't want to
exact-
go all the way down to Eagle.
You don't want to go down to Eagle. So
So the
it's
best
effectively a 2,000.
What about 9?
Probably
though?
2
9,
plus.
9 is close.
Yeah,
right?
the base of 9 has got to be 8 something.
Yeah.
And you can rip
That's
9
above
pretty
Eagle
fast.
by what,
So I'm
500
saying,
feet?
go down that
Yeah.
way, guys.
And that's really, I mean, that is my
Rip
favorite
days,
So it's a big mountain, but in terms of vertical drop,
wide
there's
open.
Heavenly's got a way bigger vertical drop.
Yeah.
You can go
That's
from
a lot
one
of
thing I like
mountains,
about
too.
Mammoth though is
10
it's really
to
sprawling
65.
compared to Revelstoke. Revelstoke was a very vertical mountain. I felt like
You think so?
Yeah, compared to
There's some
Mammoth
big
was-
traverses. Yeah, I guess I know what you mean. But Revelstoke has some big traverses to do to get to and from terrain.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, but that's only because it doesn't have the same like lift coverage
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
as Mammoth. But I think Mammoth has like a lot of chill terrain, and Revy did not have very much chill terrain.
That's true.
Even from the base, it's
You-
double black.
You would like Bend, Bachelor.
Yeah, I
There's
think
a lot
I
of
would.
chill terrain at Bachelor.
There is, but the top is like hardly ever open.
In the spring, I think we went to the top.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was awesome. We should plan a spring trip to Bend, maybe after you get passes next year.
Yeah, I'd like to.
And you like that's where we should do like
After
a big
June
friends and
closes.
family trip. Yeah, April is I think is an epic month at Bend,
Yeah.
and we could go river surfing,
Oh, that sounds sick.
which would be cool.
Yeah,
Down the
it'd be fun.
Deschutes.
No,
That
not even
sounds
down
sick.
it, like a standing wave.
Yeah. In the town.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
Bend is so cool.
It is.
We should maybe wrap this up.
Seriously?
Are you kidding me, Jess?
Are you over it?
I mean, I'm down to play some cards. I
Yeah,
think we're at 45 minutes.
We're at an hour.
54.
54.
Let's
Alright,
keep
we
it
gotta
going for
keep it
5 more
running
minutes.
for-
Let's go for an hour for their
Yeah,
for,
come on,
for
Jesse,
the
you have
audience's
nothing
pleasure.
else to say.
Hey, I have.
I've been
hey,
I've been taking most of the airtime.
we
What are you talking
know.
about?
Yeah, we know.
It's been a long 54
and
minutes.
all of our
We're sorry.
listeners are.
Yeah, I gotta keep this
Go
thing
on.
rolling somehow. It's like,
Oh, you know, what we should talk about a little bit so people in our audience know is we're starting a screen printing business. Jake's got a tight shirt on.
Go Bias Industries.
Ryan's got one that we made too. That's a limited
I've
edition.
got a really sick one they did.
No ink at all. It was one of our first tries.
Limited edition. Can't buy it anywhere.
What
Yeah.
size shirt are you, Jake or Jesse?
Large.
Large.
Dead
And
Reckon.
in charge.
Dead Reckon print
It's
works.
$20, Jesse.
So if you need,
$20
if
shirt
anybody out
for
there
a
needs
t-shirt.
some screen printing done,
Or know somebody that needs anything screen printed.
or know somebody who knows somebody,
We've got
We'll
hats.
Take like
We've got
six
t-shirts.
6 degrees, I think, of separation.
yeah. No, infinite.
In-
I don't care. But yeah, so that's a business starting to get into, and then
So
soon
if
we're
you-
gonna have some merch. We're gonna print up some Westward Drift shirts.
Westward Drifts.
Yeah,
We have there's some very limited edition, probably collector's item soon. Hats, amateur hour hats that we have.
yeah.
Yeah.
Limited run.
Dude, I hate
Collectibles.
that name. I feel like that is like you know how girlfriends are after you fucking break up with them. You're like, yeah, I thought it was cool then, but then like now, fuck that name, dude.
Amateur hour.
Yeah, I hate that name.
Yeah.
Fuck
Huh.
that name.
I kind of like it.
Classic.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It succinctly summed up our hour of talking. It just so happens.
But by the
some-
time we got to probably 12 or 13 episodes, I think we're pros now.
Yeah, I don't
We're-
think we're so much amateurs anymore. I mean,
Pro
look at
am.
these arms, guys. Look at this. Does that look amateur?
Ryan, are you gonna take the little mic with you? The
I'm
little
gonna
wired
ke-
mic.
I'm gonna keep the little wire one.
we
Okay.
should wire Ryan up like Corky Carroll at Pipeline and
Only
have
for-
him report from the bay.
It's going to be kind of late for you though when we do
It
this.
might
maybe,
be.
Maybe we'll try to do it earlier, so that way you can
It might be.
try to fight off those 100.
There might be a
milligram
few
bars.
where it'll just be the three of you.
Probably.
But
We've
we'll-
had Chad on here.
Yeah,
When-
we'll have some like special guests.
He tested really well. The audience really liked Chad.
yeah.
Yeah.
He
He might
he's
be a
good
favorite.
guy.
I think
He might be what?
I said he's a good guy.
Nielsen's ratings were good.
yeah.
A lot of comments.
Lizzie said that was our best show with Chad on here.
That really did stick.
I feel
with
like
me.
some of our earlier shows though, we had some really good stuff.
We did have some good ones on
Yep.
mute.
Yeah. I
like
feel like we had some really good
we saw you.
stuff.
who
that's
was
because
it?
I was
Chris like,
drinking. That's
you
when I
guys
was
were like
drinking.
gesticulating. And I
Yeah,
couldn't
we were
hear-
drinking before the podcast because we were kind of nervous.
And I just,
I'm afraid of what I might say. I know too much.
I remember one episode Jesse was like, "You guys can't really see this, but I'm looking at beer cans all around me in this room right now." Like I think you brought over a 24 pack and we drank
Or
it all.
we had the tall. I got the tall cans. I bought like 2 battery packs. I think for us.
podcast for the deaf.
All right. And on that note, I think we will have hit.
That's
our
Thank you for
hour.
joining us.
Like and subscribe.
We got a minute.
Podcast
Never
for
mind.
the deaf.
Psych. We're back.
And we're back.
That'd be a
Um,
sick T-shirt.
But dude, what are you doing on Monday?
Monday, maybe surfing
Trails.
Well, I could be down for a trails.
overhead trails session.
mission. Yeah, if it's still pumping.
It's supposed to be overhead still,
What's the mission? What time are you guys thinking for tomorrow?
early-ish.
What does that mean?
I don't know, like driving down there like 6:15. Driving at 6:15.
Okay.
That sound work
Yeah.
for you?
I'm down for that.
Okay.
Do you think we can get Chad to go?
Maybe. I don't know if he would have very much fun
Chad,
there.
if you're don't take what David just said. If you're listening or watching, you could easily handle uppers.
Yeah, I
You're
agree.
plenty good enough. I've
I
seen you
agree.
surf. You hang down the point. It would be one of the easier waves, I think, to like catch and surf.
I just
Yeah.
hope it's not crowded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
but
should
you
check-
can.
maybe we'll check the Cam Rewind.
But there's also been surf, I feel like, so it's not like people are necessarily jonesing.
Yeah, but this is like a red alert.
But it's Friday morning. too.
All right, we're at a minute. Fuck this. We're out.
Later, guys. We're over it.
We're not surfing.
Classic us. We're over it.